Hello, Attleboro Public School people. So one of the topics was managing student work on Google Classroom. So there's a variety of ways of doing this, depending on exactly what you're looking for. So the first thing you should know is that when you come to your homepage here, right here, it'll tell me what's due today, what's due on Monday, what's due on Tuesday. So putting due dates on your assignments is super important because it will help you manage them very, very quickly. So let's see, this was due today. If I click on that, it'll take me directly to the student work page where it will tell me that 17 of them have been turned in and 5 of them have been assigned. Assigned means that the kids have not turned it in yet. So I can see which kids have turned it in. Now this was a Google form, so I can't look at their answers from this particular page, but we can do a bunch of things from here. So one, I can grade it right here. So since Nate turned it in, and all I'm looking for at this point is that they did it. It's not about right or wrong. I can just go ahead and add the grades right here if I choose to. Then what I can do here is I can return them, which means that I will change the sharing settings, but also it'll let the students know that I've graded it. It'll let the students know that I've received it, and it'll take it out of the list of turned in ones. So what I'll do is I will do this. Then I will return them, and I'm going to leave a couple not. So then it'll only return the ones that have been checked. So these are the ones, and I'll hit return on these. And then what you'll see is that it will now list under student work. It will say that I have only 4 turned in. I have 5 assigned, and I have 13 that I've already graded. So now it'll add this graded column over here because I've now added those. So now there are 4 left that I didn't grade. So I can go back in and grade those. And I'll show you how to do this differently in a second. Now I'm going to return those and I'm going to say yes. Now the other thing is that I might want at this point, I might want to take these assigned ones. These are kids who haven't done it yet. Now I might want to go ahead and give them a 0 for that, not because I want to give them a 0, but because now Google will send them an email that says your teacher has given you a grade, and they will see the 0, and then they'll be like, oh, heck, I forgot to do that. And then they'll go back and redo it because they can still do it. So I'm going to return those 5, and it's going to say, these aren't done yet. Are you sure you want to return them? And I'll say yes. And then I'll hit return. And now if I go back to student work, it'll say that I have 0 turned in, 0 assigned, and 22 graded. I have 22 kids in my class, so I know that I have said that to everyone. Now that was for a Google form. I have to go to the Google form to look at their actual responses. So in this particular case, all I want them to know on this is that I've received their weekly check-in. That's what I want to do. Now, if I go back to my classes, now something like goals of sentencing your opinion. Now that's not due till Monday. And now 9 kids have already turned it in and 13 of them haven't. It'll default, it puts the turned in ones first. And then it'll put the non-turned in ones at the bottom. And so let's say I open one of these. Now when I open this, it'll open up in a separate window. And there's a bunch of things I like about this as far as managing their work. So it will tell me that this is Emma's. I can put my grade in right here. Let me move myself. I'm going to go right here. I can add a private comment, like, nice job, Emma, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I can put comments directly on the document right here. So if there's something that I want to talk to her about, I can add a comment right here. And then when I do that, um, nice job, whatever, I can post that comment, which I'm not going to do. If I give it a grade, I can also hit return from here, and then it'll automatically return hers. Now, if I go to this next little arrow here, it'll take me to the next person alphabetically. So Annie hasn't done hers yet because it says assigned. So hers isn't there. I can just go alphabetically through the class. I can also pull this little black arrow down here, and it'll tell me who's turned it in and who hasn't, and I can just skip right to Rand's and read hers, and I can return hers if I want to. I'm not going to because I'm not actually reading them now. So that's a good way of just kind of organizing it because it's all right here in one spot. The other thing you can do is, let me move myself again, where it says turned in and it says assigned, there's this little folder right here. If you want to, you can click on that. Every time you assign something in Google Classroom, it sets up a folder in your Google Drive under Classroom, under that class, under that assignment. So I will have a folder called Goals of Sentencing Your Opinion right there. I will have all of my students' work in it right here. It doesn't necessarily tell me who's done or who's not, but I can see them all in this space, so I can look at them in Google Drive if I want to. Then I can just click each kid's here. If you have this button activated, which I really, 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 really like, see my other video on that. What that button does is, so this tells me that Thomas Stiegler modified this at 10:19 a.m. Selena Perez modified this at April 30th, April 29th, so it was opened. And then whoever the owner is the person who currently owns it. So if they've turned it in, so where's back to Emma? Where's Emma Boss? Emma Boss has turned it in, so now I'm the owner because she's given it back to me. If Kelsey still owns it, that means that she has not submitted it yet. So that's one way. But back to this little I button. I love this little I button because if you do activity, it'll tell you who's done what when. And so if I want to open this and say, okay, I see that Rand's worked on hers and Emma's worked on hers. If I come back tomorrow morning, it'll tell me that Kylie's worked on hers or whoever else has worked on theirs, and then I can see who's been working on it. It's good for longer term projects. It's a good way to manage your work. The other thing is if we go back to just our page here, I showed you how to access it from, I showed you how to access it from your, so remember I told you that if you give them a 0, it will let the kids know and then the kids will get prompted to do it. Well, I'm sorry, as I was talking, 2 more kids resubmitted their work because I just sent them a 0. So it works. It's just kind of funny. I showed you how to do it from here. If you're doing it in your class itself, if you go to classwork, you can select the Goals of Sentencing Your Opinion. You can select it and it'll go right to the same page we were just doing it. You can do it from there. The other thing you can do from here, which is in your classwork thing, is you can look at grades. And that's a way of organizing it as well. So anything that I have in here, so weekly check-in was due today. It won't do future things. I can sort by last name. I can sort by first name. And it will have all of the students here. It will have all of their grades here. And so I can look right here for the weekly check-in. I can look to see if there's any trends or issues with Annie's work over time. I can see if there's anything with Emma or whatever. I can get a global view rather than just on that one assignment. So that's not a bad way of managing student work as well. So there's a lot of ways of managing it. You can even manage it directly from your Google Drive. You don't even have to go to Classroom. So if I go to My Drive, I can go to, as I said, because you have a Google Classroom set up, it automatically sets up a folder called Classroom. Then inside that classroom, it has a folder for all of the classrooms that you have running. Oops, I'm in the wrong Google. Hold on. Wrong account, sorry. So if I go to my attleborops.net account, under Classroom, it will have all of the classes that I have running. And then when I go to a specific class in there, I can click on any of the assignments and get to it that way as well. So if you have Google Drive on your phone, sometimes it's easier to do it that way. So then I can say, all right, yeah, it's 8:50 p.m. and Kelsey Elliott changed her permissions at 8:48. So as we were speaking, I can see in my activities that she has just done that assignment, which is why I love this activities button. If I go to, and this is the way I have my folders set up. Yours are going to be set up completely different. I will go to the Classroom folder. The Classroom folder will open up and it will automatically be populated by Google whenever you do something in Classroom. This activities bar over here, by the way, will populate with whatever is inside whatever subfolder you're looking at. So if I went to lab, published materials, it would just tell me anything that's happened in that lab folder as far as recent activity. If I'm in a bigger folder, it'll tell me anything that's happened in any of these. So as I drill down further and further, this in theory will change, but it's not going to change for you because I'm going to drill down to Kelsey Elliott's assignment if I can get it to work. And so you can do that too. You can go open Classroom, go to whatever class you want to, go to whatever assignment you want to, and then look at your students' work that way as well without even being in Classroom. So those are some of the ways of managing students' work in Google. They give you a lot of ways of doing it. So hopefully one of those will make sense to you. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, treed@attleborops.net, and Reed is REED.